let's talk about your books then. So we'll talk about your first book, so the kind of spiritual reality, which was transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. How did the inspiration come to you then to actually to write a book in the first place?
Well, it was a couple of years that it took me to get round to writing it. I started like 11 books and I never finished any of them. And finally I said to my guides, who I'd been communicating with for years, I said, what can I write that I actually publish and finish? And the answer was a spiritual book. And I was like, really? Okay. So it took them a couple of years to get me to do it. Finally, I went off to Australia and I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go on holidays or retreat and I'm going to write it. And that's exactly what I did. So it was not quite like pulling teeth, but it was along those lines till I really got there with that. But I'm really glad I did it now. I think they were right. And the book itself is, it covers a lot of things about my spiritual path, my experiences, because as a scientist, I wanted to test everything. I've tested everything. And so I do numerology. I tested on all my friends to see if I agreed with it. And when I actually agreed with it, so then I stopped doing it because I'd done the experiment. I did kinesiology testing, or muscle testing as it's called, for many years for things like shopping. I don't like shopping. And so it was really handy, and I had some miraculous things happen with that, which to me proved that I was connecting with a higher source. One of the most dramatic examples that was really obvious to me was when years ago I had a boyfriend. We were going to his sister's wedding, and he had a jacket and we had to catch the plane, but he was wearing jeans. And so I said, if you let me, I can pick out really quickly a pair of pants for you. And we had half an hour to catch, half an hour to spare to catch the plane. And we're driving by a mall. I said, stop here. And of course, malls there, it was in California, I believe, yeah, have a lot of stores. And so we stopped. I said, go into that store. We went into that store, and he is 6'2", tall guy. And so he went straight to the men's department, and I went straight to the children's section thinking, what am I doing? And went to one rack, pulled out a pair of pants, and by this time he'd found me again, and they matched his jacket. He tried them on. They were the right size, and bought them and left, and that was that. I mean, there's no way that I, as a human being, personally in this little body, could know where to find a pair of pants like that that would match him in half an hour like that. It's impossible. And so I decided there were higher powers at play, and I should listen to them because they were really convenient and handy. So that's sort of a useful way of doing things that I found. And it also proved to me that I was connecting with something beyond myself. It's a very basic physical way of doing it, but it's pretty real, when you have things like that happen. And so I used it for years and years. As a matter of fact, I used it so much that my guides, I call them my guides, they want to be called my guides. So they said they went on strike. It was horrible. They said I was becoming too dependent. Can you imagine? Me? Too dependent? No, they said, you know, figure it out yourself. So I went through a little dry phase there. But what it did was, I think they were forcing me to use other techniques.